AM 1450, FM 99.3, KNSI. Back with Brandon Johnson from VoigtJohnson Real Estate, taking you home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. Brandon, I want to ask you again, what makes your company different than the other realtors that are out there?
We really focus on a strategy and getting you from point A to point B.
Okay.
My personal philosophy is to stop selling and start helping. Mm-hmm. So we're not as focused on that hard sale approach. Yeah. We know that if we help get you from where you need to do, we help you get what's in your best interest, you're going to come back to us. So that's how I think we're a little bit different. We're less salesy.
Very good. Now, it can be very puzzling, shall I say, to a prospective home buyer, maybe a prospective home seller, some of the real estate terms, right? For example, when we talk about inventory, typically speaking, what does a realtor like to see with the amount of inventory out there for people?
Well, we talk about absorption rates is another high fancy term.
Okay.
Typically, when you have 4 to 5 months inventory, that's a balanced market.
Okay.
Right now, we're under 2 months.
Okay, but what does that mean?
It means if no more homes were to come on the market,
Yeah.
it would take 2 months for all those homes to sell, theoretically,
okay. Sure,
right?
Sure.
So right now, we're dealing in an increased level of interest rates, which is slowing down. I mean, we had appreciation levels and values in the 13 to 16%. They were crazy. They weren't sustainable.
Yeah.
We're still with higher interest rates, hovering around 6.
Yeah.
We're still seeing prices increase. We've had off properties this week, multiple offers, 5, 6 offers on a single property.
Right.
So the demand is still there. What you're getting at too is we are still in a housing shortage, significant housing shortage. And nationally, I'm just looking at some data here. Back in the housing crash or bubble, the foreclosure boom, so to speak, back in 2008, 2009, nationally, there were about 4 million homes at any given point on the market.
Sure.
A balanced market, NAR tells us, is about 2 million homes nationally on the market.
National Association of Realtors.
Correct.
Okay.
Lawrence Yun, who's the lead economist for the National Association of Realtors. In January of 2022, there was about 1 million homes on the market nationally.
Gotcha.
And currently in 2023, that's less than 1 million.
Okay.
So because of the interest rates, it costs more from a monthly payment to buy a home, but the overall economics 101 supply and demand of inventory out there is still causing home appreciation.
Yeah, folks, this is all about education here, which is the reason why we have this conversation with Brandon with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. I wanted to ask you also, when it comes to, inventory, is it better? Well, let's back up just a little bit, because you have been in the business for 20 years plus, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're dating me, Bob. But
well, the reason I bring that up is you saw this crash back in 08.
Correct.
Right? Okay. You've been in the business. You survived from 08 to 2023.
Sure.
That just doesn't happen. I mean, you've got to have both feet on the ground. You're the pencil or the piece of paper, right? You've obviously been able to make it work.
Well, I think what you'll find in people, and you're alluding to Heidi Voigt, my partner, we're always adapting to the market conditions. And like you and I were talking a little bit off air, I don't know what's going to happen in a year. All we can do is look what's happening now and how do we best adapt and move to accommodate the current market conditions. So that's the philosophy we've always taken in real estate for our clients, to be able to say, okay, what are you trying to accomplish? What's the market look like now, and how do we get there?
Yeah. The reason I brought up the longevity in the real estate business is I would have to imagine there's a lot of people that get the stars in their eyes. Great way to make a bunch of money, great way to make a living, but there's a little work involved, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, you see the realtor population come,
ebbs and
fluctuate
flows.
just like everything. COVID was a whole different wrinkle where people were getting into real estate. There was some job loss, so that's good. I like the, if you're good at what you do, there's always opportunity to get into it, so new people can come, and it forces out complacency, and that's really the ebbs and flows of the market. So
well, the cream rises to the top, Brandon, and here you are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's not me. We have a group of 30 wonderful people that, sometimes we get some of the credit, but it's really our people.
Tell me a little bit, if you will, about buyers versus sellers, because it seems to me that we always concentrate on buyers, right? What about sellers? Is this a good time to sell your house?
Well, the question is it a good time for you and what you have going on in your personal story?
Yeah.
So, we hear the typical realtor speak, well, it's a great time to buy, it's a great time to sell. Well, it may or may not be dependent on your situation, right? What I would say this is I don't see property values decreasing anytime soon.
Right.
Simply because of what we alluded to, the inventory, there's a supply shortage. What I would say is homes sell all year long. There's always people coming to the area. I did a car tour, out of state buyer here just this weekend with my daughter, videotaping. There's people coming to town. There's always demand. There's no shortage of demand.
Right.
Now that being said, you still have to have your home prepped, show ready, maintenance and priced accordingly. But yes, there, especially in the upcoming months, we've seen heavy demand.
Okay, so when when interest rates were as low as they were, we had multiple offers. People were waiving any kind of contingencies. They were saying, I don't need to have this inspection, blah, 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 blah.
Correct.
Is that starting to change now? And I would think if the answer is yes, that is in the seller's favor.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It's interesting because we had an agent this week that she mentioned to me she had 5 offers on a home in Sartell.
Yeah.
And they all had an inspection contingency. And so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. A year ago, you were seeing a lot of people were waiving. We had clients where flowers were getting sent to their work. You name it, they were to try and get the offers, right? And you lose a little, you get caught up in that emotion. What I would say is it depends on the environment. Like I was guiding some clients. If you're not in multiple offers, you have more leverage to have asked, right? If you're competing on a home that's been on the market 3 days and there's 6 other offers, now we have to evaluate what your priorities are in crafting that offer.
You see, folks, knowledge is power, and it doesn't matter if you're buying or if you're selling. You want to make darn sure that you are working with the right realtors. VoigtJohnson, I would say. How about a phone number if people want more information, Brandon?
320-774-2400.
Heidi Voigt, Brandon Johnson. Again, VoigtJohnson Real Estate, taking you home Thursday mornings at 7:23, Saturdays at 7:50 here, AM 1450, FM 99.3, KNSI. Brandon, thank you.
It's a pleasure.